Welcome to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit, a platform where we have invited Spirit to share messages, healings, and transmissions with all of us. May this energetic experience help us to expand our awareness and to deepen the relationship we have with our higher self, our spiritual team, and with Source, however we define them. Thank you for being here and for taking part in this amazing journey. Hello and welcome back to the Spiritual Intelligence. No, wait. Hello and welcome back to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit. My name is Daniel Martinez. We are at the end of day 3, episode 9 with Kristi Slotemaker. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Almost correct. It's Slotemaker, but it's okay.
Slotemaker?
It's just an extra. I know.
Oh, cool. So you're slow to the maker?
That apparently is true. But if it is the true translation in Dutch, it just means a lock maker. Okay. But my family didn't do locks. They planted cabbage. So I don't know.
All right. Anyway, so slow to maker.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. Anyway, so end of the day, day 3, season 6, Daniel Martinez Stahl, honor of having Kristi Slotemaker with us. Kristi and I met through one of Sarah Landon's group community things. And after I had the experience and the honor of her channeling, I pretty much instantly said, hey, come and play with me on the summit. Bootweg, Kitty, is that the one that's Dutch or Foss? So Kitty's saying that her name is also Dutch.
I know, I saw that. I'm like, yes.
It's because in Dutch it's Bouteweg.
Bouteweg.
Oh, I love it. God, I love those Dutch names, man.
And it means outside way, outside road.
Oh, cool.
I love it.
That's beautiful.
That's so cool.
Okay, so where are we going to go today? No idea. This is, we were just talking about different drinks that we enjoy and the fact that I like the candy drinks. And then, so our energy is a little bit playful. It's playful and a lot of fun at the moment. So spiritual intelligence, since I had that little faux pas.
Yeah.
So spiritual intelligence is what I refer to as the understanding of what it means to be both human and spirit. And the level at which you understand that is your level of spiritual intelligence. I've heard people refer to spiritual intelligence as the glue or the bridge that connects IQ with EQ. So intellectual intelligence with emotional intelligence.
I love that.
And so anyway, Spiritual Intelligence Podcast is another one of my projects, which is a bit on hold since I started doing this. But in any case, let's begin with Kristi. So Kristi, can we have you introduce yourself and then we will go from there?
Yeah, sure. My name is Kristi Slotemaker. I am a human and living in a spiritual experience. Right, Daniel? And a little about me, I guess. I have 4 cats and a dog and a stray cat that we feed. So we have a lot of animals. And I'm just trying to think. I'm not really good about sharing about myself, so this is really weird. My favorite ice cream is Tillamook Rocky Road, and I just happen to be, just so y'all know, I'm on vacation with my husband. We just got married after 10 years, and we are in the land of Tillamook ice cream. Do you guys, if you don't know where Tillamook is, it's on the West Coast. In Oregon.
Best ice cream ever.
Boom.
That's Kitty. That's Kitty.
Kitty, you know that girl?
Yes.
We're
Yes,
going
my
out
aunt.
after this and we're getting ourselves some ice cream because
Well, I'm in Maine, but we went to Tillamook with my sister when we were in Oregon last year. Best ice cream ever.
it is, and it smells. Well, I also, part of my career choice was leaving corporate 7 years ago to teach people how to make cheese. So that is my paying gig. And when you go to Tillamook, there are 75,000 cows and there are only 5,000 people, and it smells like it. And it is a beautiful place. But a spiritual moment I had here was, I mean, I've had so many spiritual moments on the coast. When you're near the ocean, I don't know how you can't play with spirit. I don't know how you can escape the energy of all that is around you. And one of the funny moments I had was realizing when Lewis and Clark came out here, it was a very depressing trip. They did not like it. And to me, this is the most beautiful part of the world just because I grew up here and I understand it. And they named places, and this is all about perspective. These beautiful places are named Dismal Nook, Disappointment Cape, all the things. I mean, it just goes to show when you are looking for something and you don't find it, you can't see what's around you. You're attached to the outcome. They were attached to finding the Northwest Passage, which was the easy way to get goods to the East Coast of the United States, and they didn't find it. What they did find were lots of trees, a ton of rain, and really uncomfortable conditions, and they hated it. And you know, when you look at all the beautiful coastside towns as you come through Oregon, it's inescapable beauty. And by the way, for those of you who are Gen Xers and love old movies, I am in the town of Astoria. So if you loved Goonies, my little friends, I am in the town. Yes, Camille, I see your hand. I am in the town where Goonies was filmed. So there's all kinds of fun happening here. So that's a little bit about myself in a rambling way. And so Daniel, back to you in the studio.
Okay. And so the Boo Suite.
Yes.
And so
Daniel hates that name, by the way.
I've learned to love it with the other spelling. Thank you, Sally.
Okay.
Sally's the one that actually, you know, talked about that.
Oh, really?
Anyway.
Oh, that's great, Sally. Thanks.
So the Boo Suite.
Yes.
For those of you that haven't read Kristi's bio, she channels a group of energies that refer to themselves as the body of one. And they are affectionately referred to as the Boo Suite, which I think is
because they wanted to sound like a band.
And sweet, what she and I are talking about is that for me, Boo Suite, like the Microsoft suite, just doesn't stick. And I kept on wanting to call them the Boo Collective, the Blue Consciousness, the Blue Group, the
Right?
Boo,
Why not? The
Boo Group. So everything came out except sweet. And then I was talking to Sally in my practice group about the Boo Suite, and she was like, "Now is that sweet SWEET?" And I went, "Oh, I love it."
Yes.
And so the Boo Suite for me is BOO space SWEET.
We love it.
And so anyway, the Boo Suite. Eventually, we're going to get into a channeling because I would love to introduce.
I'd love to, yeah.
I would love to introduce the people to your amazing group of collective energies that play through you.
May I add something to that really quick, Daniel? Is that okay? And we maybe go into this later, but I think it's important to understand now the Boo Suite, the reason why it's important that they are perceived as a band. It's because we are the Boo Suite. We are the ones who come into the collective. We hear we are all one. And, you know, I got the most beautiful image and message from them yesterday was, you know what? Y'all think it's us being the Boo Suite. Y'all think it's the angels or your guides that are on stage giving the concert. And in reality, It's us that's on stage. It's us that's giving the concert, and they are there supporting us. And even though they are us and we are them, all of us, we're one, it's really understanding that we all want to be in the band, man. And we're all in the band and we're all having fun. So that really is the intention of play with the Boo Suite, the body of one. So thank you, Daniel, for letting me insert that.
Absolutely. And so, isn't she pinned?
I am pinned. I see a pin.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Kristi and I are both pinned.
It might be the view if there's
Yeah,
a
so
struggle.
your view might not be in speaker, and it might still be in gallery. So naturally, again, invitation to anybody that's present, feel free to raise your hand, ask questions, interact with us, play with us, however you want to engage with us. One of the things that I really appreciate about Kristi is, as she speaks about, she says that she's new to this and that she's still very naive and kind of playfully ignorant.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily agree with that.
Oh, okay. Oh, I love it because Daniel Daniel and I agree on a lot of things, but I love it when Daniel disagrees with me. It is the best. So let's hear this.
And the reason that I disagree with this is because her understanding is very profound. And it's not about when, it's about the depth. In the Three Principles community, the originator of that description of life, Sydney Banks, who first described the three elements that create all of existence, talks about how, as a teacher of the Three Principles, your students are likely going to have a faster understanding than you did. And there are people that, as soon as you tell them you're creating your entire experience of life innocently through the thoughts that you're paying attention to, they go deep with that. And they're like, oh my God, they start laughing. I've lived in depression and mental disease my entire life, and I didn't realize that I was innocently creating that with my own thoughts. And they see the truth of that. They feel the truth of that instantly. And they just surpassed me. They just went beyond anything that I've been at. And so it's not about how long you've been involved in a spiritual growth or a spiritual understanding. And like we've been talking about, we're all at different speeds for different reasons that our higher self and our soul have chosen because of the learnings and experiences that we are choosing for ourselves in this human body and this human experience. But I do want to kind of talk about this because I don't know what Kristi's going to say, but she might say, I'm kind of new to this, so I don't know what I'm saying. And I'm going to say, actually, you knew more than you realize, you know, which is probably true for most people that are listening to this conversation, is you probably know more than you're giving yourself credit for, myself included, right? You know, so this is a big part of our journey. It's a big part of our process. Our learning curve is in stepping into what we are already aware of, that we're slowly beginning to recognize that we're aware of. Over to you.
You know, I love that word, recognizing. I love it. I don't know how many of you have experienced when you go back and look at your journals, or look back in an experience and have thought maybe in that time you were alone, or felt alone. And when you go back and reflect on that time, you were not alone. In fact, there was divine wisdom coming through. You just couldn't recognize it. And Daniel is absolutely correct. I think I can only speak to my experience. My experience is that I grew up in an organized religion, and I loved Jesus so much. But when the organized religion didn't align with who I thought Jesus was, I just deserted it for a long time. And I couldn't even think about entering into a relationship with spirit until 2 years ago. And when I go back and look at my journals, and I go back and look at, I did a lot of automatic writing, not knowing I was doing automatic writing. So that might be an experience for many of you. And I see Sabrina shaking her head. And realizing that I had to be allowing and recognizing, I didn't have to be. There was a time, and I'm in the right time now. But when I go back, I'm so grateful that I had the divine wisdom. I just couldn't recognize it. So while I say I am new at recognizing what our spiritual lives and how rich they can be looks like in relationship. And I think that's the biggest part of this, is the relationship that we have with ourself, with others, and as we recognize each other as divine. So I appreciate that thought, Daniel. Thank you so much.
A big part of this journey, excuse me, a big part of this journey starts with us.
Mm-hmm.
And arguably it can be said that the entire journey starts with us. There are still areas where I see gaps in my ability to recognize the divine in others, namely the people close to me in my life.
I think that's normal, but yes.
Easier for me to see it in Kristi and in Sabrina and in Carolyn and in Kitty and in Sally and in Kelly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's easier for me to see it in others. But those that are dear to me and close to me, OMG. It's like, but that's because I'm invested in their well-being beyond just recognizing that they're living their own choices. They're living their own lives. I see them struggle. I see them suffer. And I say to myself, there's a different way. there's different choices you can be making that would mean a better quality of life for you. And I give that meaning and importance. And I don't recognize the truth of they are a divine master and are choosing that for themselves. And yes, I can share what I'm learning, and I can share the things that I'm expanding into as a way of inviting them to step into the truth of who they are. But it's different if I am sharing that so that they change. It's a different energy altogether.
Right. It's that agenda, creating without an agenda. And that is so the thing that I have been coming. It's funny, on vacation. Don't y'all, when you go on vacation, have different experiences? And it just opens up your world because you're stepping out of your everyday created reality. And you step into this new reality that you get to create every day that's outside of your routine. And in those moments, you're able to recognize so much more. And I appreciate what you're saying, Daniel, because I have struggled with the people closest to me as well, right? My mother, I took care of her until she passed or transitioned. And my partner is chronically ill. So I have a lot to not work on, that's not the right word. I love the opportunity now that I get to look at them both, my mother who has transitioned as divine, look at my partner, my husband, as someone who is divine. And being on vacation this week has really taught me I can go into a restaurant, just like Daniel said, I can go into a restaurant. I am so spiritually on fire. I am changing the atmosphere of this restaurant. I am like laughing and making jokes. I am the fun person when I'm in a restaurant or interacting with a stranger. And it's when we get home. It's when we get home that the divine masters in our lives are the ones that we have the hardest time seeing the divinity in, isn't it? And it is such a beautiful opportunity to be reminded.
I love the language of seeing those that are close to us in life as our divine playmates.
Oh, yes.
I love that language. I love
Yes.
that invitation. I like that perspective.
Yes.
Is that those that are looking to play with us in life more intimately than just a waiter at a restaurant, or waitress.
Yeah.
Sorry, waiter is
Server.
literally
Server.
server. I should know better. A server at a restaurant.
Yeah, I felt like you worked in restaurants yourself, my friend.
Yeah, many years.
I would have tipped you so good. I would have tipped you so good.
I appreciate that. But anyway, the idea that those that choose to engage with us at more intimate levels of experience, they're our divine playmates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it also opens up the awareness where the people that have challenged us most in life, on the other side of the experience, the energetic side of experience, those souls more often than not are the ones that are closest to us.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that chose to be the dick in our lives. And the lives that they chose are not fun lives to choose, so that they can play that role for us in this life. So again, it's just the more that we allow ourselves to expand into an understanding of who we are and where we're coming from and where we're going and the relationship between us, it starts to open up all kinds of rabbit holes that are a lot of fun to start playing in.
Yeah. Your statement, I really, they chose that role in our life. So I want to change gears, but I want to comment on that. Sure, we can perceive it that way. We absolutely can perceive it, that they came into our lives to be the tough challenge. And I think that there's a higher perspective, that they are us. They are true love. They are pure well. They're drawing from the well of love, just like we are. And it's maybe sometimes, while it is challenging, while it is something for us to learn from, I think there's a higher perspective, and I can't articulate it right now, but I would like to look at people like my mother who, is there anybody here who has a mother that they've had a challenge within their life? Like, it's been hard. Like, can you raise your hand any faster, Camille? Because that's what I want to see. Okay. Moms are givers of life, and in my experience, they suck our soul. So yet, since my mom has transitioned, I'm trying to understand her as a whole being. As I've been contacted by her, I have been frightened, or still seeing her as the person she was here on earth, as the embodiment of the damage that she caused on earth. And she's not, and she never was. And I don't know how to explain that yet. And I know there's a higher perspective there. And so whether or not she chose to be that, I chose her as my mother. I will look at it that way. I chose her intentionally when I contracted to come onto this planet, that I chose this woman. And I have not contacted her and talked to her. However, I can see her, and in her life, she was challenging. But now, when I envision her, or the vision that she has given me is, and this may sound silly, I don't ever see spiritual beings as human. I very rarely see them other than orbs or light. But in the case of my mother, I can see her essence as a manta ray floating through the sea. Absolute peace. And that is who she is. And that is who she was on this planet. It just didn't manifest that way for me. So it's something for me to think about and articulate better. But Anyway. Oh, Kitty says, I had a grandmother who caused damage. She came to me to apologize. I decided that if I hold her bound, then I am held bound to things I may not have been aware of. So I decided to tell her, we are all good. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And when we talk about the people that are closest to us, this is where I wanted to shift gears. It's us. It's ourselves. We can look at the world around us and look at the people in our lives that it's hard as humans to make it through the day sometimes. Because I love my husband, but man, he has to tell me all the things. He's an engineer, so all the things that are wrong in the house, he has to tell me all the things that are broken because he wants to tell me he can fix them. But I got to hear about that every day, right? So that's a challenge for me. So anyway, but it's really about ourselves. We have the hardest time living with ourselves, and we are the ones that we have to be best friends with. We are the ones that we have to recognize. Anyway, so that's kind of where go ahead, Daniel. You want to say something? You could tell.
There's a couple comments in the chat about the people close to us being our mirror, or the question of, are they our mirror? And it's really interesting to think about this from a different perspective than traditional psychology. So for those of you that don't know, I have played in psychology, psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, NLP for most of my adult life. And I grew up in a household with a psychiatrist as a father and a psychotherapist as a mother who became a clinical director. So the idea of psychology is one that I'm familiar with.
You chose those parents. You chose them. Can we just talk about that for 1 minute? You chose that. Wow. Good job, Daniel.
So from a psychological standpoint, we can look at, mirrors and, all kinds of things. But what I've been noticing in my experience with my mother, who challenges me all the time, being very clear with my language, I engage with her stories. It's not that she challenges me, is that I engage in her stories and I give my power away to her using different language, right? But what I've been really noticing in terms of my relationship with her is that she is a beautiful mirror for me to see where I am at within my own understanding of who I am. She is an incredible mirror for me to recognize where I am at with my relationship with Source. Because our relationship with Source is reflected in our relationship with life. And so when I work with Kristi or talk with Kristi, or when I work with Sabrina and talk with Sabrina, I have a very different relationship to them than I do my mother or, my partner, whoever that might be, whenever they decide to come into my life. But
you're drawing them to you right now. Just saying.
It's those people that are really close to us that are offering themselves in such an intimate way for us to see the truth of who we are. And this isn't about judgment. Believe me, this is, again, my journey, my issues, right? I judge myself, I critique myself a lot, and I should be different with my mother. I need to be different with my mother. I need to be better with my mother. I need to love her more, And there's an aspect of gratitude that I have for her, because no one else in this world can teach me what she's able to teach me because of how close I am with her. Because Kristi, as much as I love the conversations that we have together, and as much as I love you, you're not going to trigger me like my mother does. Because there's a very different relationship there. And so I am in such gratitude for my mother, because no one else in this world can teach me and show me that mirror of areas that I'm still working on to let go and to release. Because no one else can show me that because no one else has the depth and attachment to me that I give to my relationship with my mother.
Interesting.
And so this is how I would answer the idea of, are they a mirror to us? They're a mirror for us to see who we are and where we're at within our own journey of finding our own self-love and our own self-worth and our own connection with self.
Daniel,
so that's what I would say.
That is a beautiful thing to say. It's true. Those comments about being a mirror, absolutely. Here's the thought that I've been really playing with lately. Literally playing with it. Really trying to dig into the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions, and sixth at this point. Is that, do we want to describe the third dimension as the dimension of separation? The fourth dimension is the dimension of transition where you're learning and working. And the fifth dimension is the dimension of pure love. And sixth dimension is unity consciousness. So is that correct, Daniel? I could see you kind of.
There are no rights or wrongs.
No, I'm just saying, in our understanding, or at least the understanding. I have taken my teachings from the council, Sarah Landon and the council, and I'm not confident that it's like universal knowledge. So I'm going there. You're going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah. So sixth dimension is the dimension of imagination.
Unity consciousness. Of what?
It's a dimension of imagination.
Oh, okay. I've heard it. Dimension of yeah. Okay. Good.
Which is, again, it can be looked at in the same way with different words, but
okay. In the fourth dimension of transformation, of us learning and working, absolutely, I believe that we view people in our lives as our mirrors, as the ones that are teaching us our lessons. And as we expand into the fifth dimension of consciousness, where everything stems from the well of deep, pure love, it's not about teaching and lessons and learning as much as, what do I have inside me that I can expand? How can I expand the love that I have in my heart to expand into my mother? It's not about what we're lacking. It's not about the fact that our cup isn't full yet. Our cup has always been full. We have always been whole, and we already have what we need inside. And what we need inside will vary depending on whatever's going on. But now I am learning to expand what I already have. Not to say that yours is I'm not challenging it. I'm just looking at it from a different way. Does that help? I love it when he pauses. It makes me really nervous.
So what I would say is the description that you gave is at the edge between fourth and fifth.
Okay, that's cool, dude. I hate labels anyway. Labels are labels for me do not work, but for vocabulary, we need it.
When we get into a space when we're allowing ourselves to live in what is metaphorically referred to as the fifth dimension, because these aren't real dimensions.
No,
just words that we're using to help understand the conversation in a way that's easier for people to grasp what we're referring to. But when we allow ourselves to live from a place of fifth dimension, I'm not questioning, how do I relate to my mother? It's not a question. The question is fourth dimension. In the fifth dimension, I am relating to my mother from a place of love. As a place of being. It's an essence of truth. It's not a question. And so as we are expanding into and past the fourth dimension into the fifth, our transformation starts to become more elevated. Our transformation becomes more expansive. And we start playing in these edges of being the truth of who we are, but still having some doubts. And so we're playing with making some changes. And if we're looking to make changes, we're still in fourth.
Oh,
Right?
look at that. That's pretty fancy. Yeah.
You know, so again, these are all just labels and terminologies, and it's not about, well, Daniel said that this is the fourth dimension, and that's not what I'm saying. It's just where I'm pointing myself to is this idea that I'm really excited to create life from knowing that I'm the energy of all that is. And when I'm in that space, everybody else is too.
Yes.
And there's no doubt, there's no question, there's no trying to figure out, it's just, they already are.
Yeah.
And they are, living the choices that they are making. They're the creators of their own creation. They're the masters of their everything.
Thank you, Camille. That was beautiful.
So I'm reading Camille right now. I feel I went full circle with my beautiful mom. Childhood and teenage years were difficult, yet before her transition, I was so close, and she and I were all love. That's beautiful. Thank you.
It is beautiful. The fact that, you know what? We get to do this. We get to live these experiences and get to create our own experiences as a result. And sure, transition, all love, all love. Love it.
And there's something that I want to highlight here, which is something that Shannon mentioned in a comment earlier on, which is we are also challenging them too. And this is something that I've talked about in terms of,
I'm perfect. I don't know who I'm challenging, because
my mother and she's challenging me to, expand beyond my limited ideas of who I am. And at the same time, I'm constantly challenging her to go beyond the ideas of who she is. And so it does go both ways, which is important to remember as well.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to kind of run out of time before we allow the Boo Suite to come in. So invite them in whenever you feel they want to start coming forward, and however you want to play with this. This is up to you.
No, we can absolutely. Let's. I'm just gonna take a couple of deep breaths, and then how do you want to do this? Do you want to ask questions or leave the floor open to questions? I'll just, you know what? You just do what you want.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna go in and close my eyes.
Okay.
Hello, our friends. We are so honored to be here with you today, to be able to share and play. This is a safe place where we can have fun and ask questions and know that all the wisdom that is coming forth today is the wisdom from you, the wisdom from us. We who are you and you who are us. It is such an honor. You may begin, Daniel.
Is there a message that you would like to give us beyond your introduction?
No.
Okay.
We like questions.
Fair enough. So I'd like to open this up to anybody that is live. If you want to ask a question, if you want to put a question in the chat, raise your hand, however you want to play with this. So listening to the conversation that we've been having today, more specifically within this session with Kristi, what else would you like to add to the conversation that you feel needs to be shared? Notice what I just did?
This guy's clever. We really are excited about having fun. we realize that when we hear about the experiences through you, that things are so serious. Things in our lives get tough. And the laughter and the lightness isn't allowed in. And really, in this experience that we all chose to come incarnate as humans, this was really designed to be a lot of fun, to be an experience of coming into form and creating in a whole different way. And we realize that as you come into being, as the fading happens, the fading we define as that moment when you come into this planet out of the womb and you start to forget the truth of who you are. It is a part of this experience. And as that experience moves forward, as we, as you, as us, forget the truth of who we are, as it fades from our memories, you also forget who we are to you, that you are divine, that we are here, that you are here for yourself. And our favorite part, and favorite, we do not have emotions, as you might understand, but we do understand the importance of conveying emotions. So our favorite part of this experience with you is the play as you come into discovering your spiritual gifts. Your spiritual gift is how you live your life. That is the biggest spiritual gift. It is the gift that you give to yourself first. It is the gift that you give to those around you as they see you living your life in a way that interacts with spirit. And it is the way that our relationship is recognized. As you come into your spiritual gifts, the gifts that you came to this planet to play with, to cultivate, that is where our relationship begins. And playing in that relationship is the place where our relationship and you expand. So all the fun that we've been having today really is about that. And you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference when we talking about the drinks that we like versus talking about the heaviness of those around us. Those both are the human experience. Those both are part of our expansion, your expansion, our expansion. And you can feel the lightness and ease when we're playing and having fun. So that is our message.
Beautiful.
Our expansion of the message.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There's a number of different ways in which this question can be asked. So I'm just going to ask it how it is written, and then it'll be curious to see where you take it. Where is it that you all reside? Are you in the consciousness around the earth at this time?
Thank you for that question. Can we just talk about prepositional phrases? In, out, around, about. Oh, language is fabulous. There is no language for where we reside. There is no language because we reside in you. You are us, we are you. There is no place or space. It is. And what is so important about vocabulary is it just gives us a map so many times. And so, yes, where do we reside? We reside in you. We are you. You are us, we are you, we are one, we are source. You are our home. Does that make sense? Does that help?
It does. Are you ready? Okay, so there are a number of different energies that are choosing to place a lot of their interest on this beautiful planet. And there are other energies that choose to focus their attention and their interest in other dimensions and other experiences that are available to us as beings with a perception of individualized self, with our personalities that are unique to ourselves, which are part of the one, but yet remain unique within ourselves. Within that kind of a description, what is your role and relationship with our beautiful planet Earth?
This is a difficult question because as we see things, as we understand things, or as we bring understanding, we are all one. We are everywhere all the time. So when we talk about really getting specific and wanting to say, where are we? What is our interest? What place? What role? It isn't like that. And that is the important message, I think, for us to understand. When we start to take things and section them out, put them in silos, put labels on them, it is important for us as humans, for you as humans, to do that, because this is how the mind works. It's logical. It was designed this way, to be organized, to help us, help you bring forth information so that communication and understanding can happen. And when we start to part things out, then we start to limit things. When we start to put things in boxes and labels, we take away the power of unlimited potential and unlimited possibility. And we understand this is not a satisfying answer in a way that we want to, in our minds, provide a role or a place. It's really about not holding on to logic, not building things inside the head to limit the beliefs, because magic happens. And can you explain magic? You might be able to explain how a magician pulls a rabbit out of a hat, but as one of the favorite phrases that we hear that you express is, you can't make this stuff up. And you can't. And that's because it's limitless. And we are everywhere. You are everywhere. There is no box. There is no role. Expand. Expand the mind. Expand into your heart. Or in the case of our friend Daniel, find the place in between where logic and heart meet. And you're able to fix it and move it together. Thank you.
Beautiful. So the next question, Kelly is asking the question, and feel free to ask for more specificity if needed. How do we discern through the frequencies and resonance with those we draw into our lives? I see it as a band of frequencies, and within that band, there must be something that resonates. Otherwise, our paths would not cross. Is this true? Please explain.
Kelly, our friend, would you be willing to share briefly a little bit of what your experience was, so that formed this question for you?
So Kelly's not unmuting, so I assume that there might be typing happening right now. So we'll just give it a moment.
Sure. We'll start to answer the question because, and the question, really the answer is in the question. Are we destined to meet people, have experiences that we experience when people and opportunities come into the cross-section of our life? Are we designed to experience them? And the answer is yes. So I am curious as to Kelly's experiences to the question.
So while Kelly is coming back online,
Sure.
if Kelly does or doesn't, let me expand the question in a different way that might reveal the answer that's being looked for. Okay, and I'm going to be a bit loaded in the way that I present this. If you and I are destined to meet, there are things in your free will and things in my free will that I will hold that back. Kelly says, it appears old patterns presenting themselves being ready to be cleared.
So our friend Kelly, we are going to make a broad assumption that you are finding yourself attracting the same types of experiences with humans into your life. With that assumption, the question becomes, for you, what am I doing wrong? Is that the question, Kelly? And if that is the question back is, what is the story you are telling yourself about these experiences and why they keep happening. The question is, where do you think you are broken? And when you find that place where you think you are broken, we ask you to look up into the possibilities of who you are, the potential of who you are, and recognize in yourself the beauty and the power of what is within you, and find that thing. Find the thing that is within you that you love the most and expand on that. Expand. You are not tied to these stories. These stories, you know where they come from, right here. They come from experience. They come from thought. You are a creative being, and you have been very creative in the construction of these experiences. But we are here to remind you that you hold the key to the beauty of who you are, and expand the thing that you are the most proud of inside yourself. And you will watch these stories dissolve. And you will watch new people as they come into your life and expand you in the field of love.
And so the answer to the question of whether or not this is what she was asking, it is yes, therefore the discernment. And then she continues with, and Kelly, I'm assuming that you're a female, no offense if you're a guy. I realize that Kelly could go either way. Is it just a belief the experiences are actually wonderful, but not what I desire?
It goes back to the same question. What is the story? What is the story? And once we understand the story, what is the new story that you want to create? How do you want to expand on the good things? Sounds like these are good. What do you want to expand on to make those things bigger? Does that make sense?
The language of perfect thank you came before you asked that question. So I'd like to add something to this, and of course, let me know how far off base I am.
Daniel, it's all your experience and your expression.
We are regularly reminded that when we put out our intention to the universe, and the universe is coming back with something that is a little bit off the mark, it's an opportunity for us to, instead of going into what do I need to fix and what do I need to change and what's wrong or what am I still to understand, it's an opportunity for us to be more specific about what it is that we want to create. There's an element where life, the universe. Okay, another thing that I've heard is when things are arriving that are a little bit off the mark, it's a reminder that there's more coming and that this is just an indication as a reminder to us.
Yeah. Are you done with your thought?
I'm trying to put words to it.
You understand. You understand.
There's an element where, for example, if I am looking to get a job and I go to these interviews and I spend all this time and effort going to this job, and after, months, I don't end up getting the job, there's an element there where there was a misalignment between that job and myself. And so the universe was very quick at saying, nope, let's derail you in a different direction because this doesn't quite align with where you are. And so there's an element of efficiency where we can appreciate the gratitude of the manifestation not being accurate quickly, because there's a clarity in, this isn't for you, we're doing something better. This isn't for you, we're doing something better. And so there's an element of that at play when we come across these situations where we meet people that, though beautiful as they might be, they're not exactly what we are looking for. Over to you.
Thank you. There is truth. There is truth in what you say. There is truth. And we want to offer a different perspective. It is common on this plane to talk about the specificness or specificity of the ask, of the desire, to be very specific. And that is a path. That is a path. You want a certain thing, you want a certain job, you ask for that certain job. You often put deadlines and expectations and get tied to the outcome of this request. Again, that is a path. It is a path, very common. It is a path that is easy to understand. What we want to offer is letting go and allowing and focusing the creator energy not on the specific outcome. The human mind is a beautiful thing, and to play with it is magical. And it is very limiting. Would you ever be able to imagine, if you were trained in an IT job, that you could work as a person who runs carnival rides and that be the calling in life because that is enjoyable and fun? That is so far outside of the imagination and the logical perspective. So when we become specific about our requests, wants, and desires, we are limiting the energy. What we would encourage is to be desirous of how you want to feel, desirous of how you would like to feel, to be inside your new reality, the reality that you create. It is much grander than what you can imagine, especially when we put measurements on it, measurements being time, money, calling them goals. Those work, and we would ask that you consider letting those go and releasing them and focusing on creating from your heart a place where you know, hey, I want to feel, I want to be this way when these people come into my life. I want to feel, I want to be this way when the perfect vocation comes into my life. That is creation. Does that help?
Kelly, let us know if that's helpful. So Shannon is offering something here. The universe responds on all it receives, so it is an opportunity to also discover what you asked for on a subconscious, unconscious, or energetic level that went into the original request without the conscious self realizing. What we receive is what we need, not always what we want. Opportunities are always present in every opportunity, no matter how we perceive it.
Possibilities, 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 and potential. Yes, yes, yes. There are many requests coming at you. Some from this plane, some from spiritual planes, as you might describe them. And they're all full of possibility.
Any other questions from the people that are live with us? So what I was going to play with while we waited for Kelly to come back, because I think this was helpful for me to understand and to explore. And again, the definitions and the structure taken with a grain of salt.
Always with a grain of salt.
Always with a lot of salt. When we are destined to meet somebody and your free will choices and my free will choices then preclude that original intention from happening the way that it was proposed, I found it helpful to learn that there is a legion of energies in the background that are playing with energies and possibilities and working with things to make that reconnection happen at some future date.
A bunch of mad scientists.
Yes.
And are you asking if that is the case?
I would love to hear your thoughts about what happens when, because as humans, we play a lot with this idea of, oh, I was destined to meet that person. But then we play with this concept of free will, which we're told by you guys we always have. And so how do the two come into play? And then likewise, when things that were quote unquote destined to happen don't happen, what happens after that? Small question.
Interesting. First, our question to you is, if it didn't happen, how did you know it was supposed to happen? Where was that expectation? And that's rhetorical.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me give you an example. Okay. Michael Newton's book, which I love, Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, talking about life after life, life between lives. Within one of the case studies that he shares in there is an example of two souls that had chosen to partner in life and to meet and to connect. Now, through his free will in that lifetime, he made choices that led him into a war where he ended up getting killed before he was able to meet this other soul. And so again, there's this question of understanding the balance between free will and God's will. Understanding the balance between destiny and choices.
Yeah, you are on. We are on. You who are us, we who are you, are on this ride. Really. We're on this ride. And this ride gives us a lot of opportunities to get in line for many different things. And it is interesting that the assumption that people who were designed to meet didn't, but they already did. They already shared the spark. The spark was already there. It is interesting to make the assumption that this was a miss when on many other planes of existence, these two people, or it's not even people, it's the entities, it's you, it's me, it's already met. We already knew each other. We understand. It is this thought process of beginning and end that really is helpful on this planet, really helpful. Beginning and end, so helpful. And when assumptions are made that the beginning and the end didn't happen on this plane and it was a mistake, is very interesting. Now, going to free will, God's will and free will. Very, very beautiful. In this plane, in this experience, yes, free will choice is the game. There are so many possibilities and potentials that to even think that something was misdirected, like traffic needing to be redirected. And somehow things were missed because God's will and free will did not align, is a misconception. Because it's a hard concept to explain. Because our will, your will, Source's will, Source doesn't even have a will. Will, Source is. Source is. So when we talk about things missing or destiny, things didn't happen. The plane of existence that we are on allows for that free will, but there are always billions of opportunities for that potential to come through. When the potential comes through and the possibility comes through, that creates the destiny. When we think of it linearly on the timeline, it is difficult to wrap our human minds around it. When you think of it multidimensionally, with the realm of possibilities, destiny happens at the same time the possibility occurs. We are not sure if we've completed the question.
I think that you have, though I'm not sure if others would agree.
Well,
There's a comment here from, and again, I apologize, I'm mispronouncing your name, Marg. Aren't souls that you are destined to meet, but you don't in this lifetime, will meet with you in another lifetime?
is that a question?
It is a question.
Please say
Oh,
again.
Margaret. Thank you, Margaret. That's really helpful.
What was the question?
Aren't souls that you are destined to meet, but don't meet in this lifetime, will meet with you in another lifetime?
Sure. Yes. When we look at it as reincarnations or incarnations of life, absolutely. We're not, you are not, we are not missing each other, just connecting. The spark is connecting, the fields of energy are connecting, the consciousness is connecting in a physical experience. And y'all, we all, you all, we who are us, we all know each other. Spiritually, we never miss each other. There is no miss of we are all interconnected. If you are to play with someone on this plane, in this lifetime, on this timeline, then it will happen. And it may also happen in another dimension, may happen on another timeline. It is not about looking at things in a linear perspective. It is about looking at things as the whole, knowing that you as a creator standing in your own creation, all the things have already happened, they're already done. And in this case, in this conversation, all the souls, which are you, which are me, which are one, are already playing together.
There's a question about, thank you for that. There's a question about the gender that you present yourself as,
Oh,
being the
gender?
body of one.
Oh, the body of one is genderless. The human presents as female. The body of one is genderless. We do like this play of genders on the planet and all the fabulous understandings that are coming forth about what gender is and is not. It is really a beautiful unfolding.
So I'm aware of the time. Yes, your vehicle is female. The voice I hear sounds male, is the comment in the chat. So thank you for coming to play with us.
Our pleasure. Always willing to play.
Anything that you would like to leave us with?
Yes. We love you so. We really want you to know things can be easier. We really want you to know how much fun you can have experimenting on this planet, expressing and expanding. And we are here to join when you ask. We are always here. We are always here. We are always here. And we are ready to commune with you when you are ready. Have fun. And we will leave you now to frolic in this beautiful place, on this beautiful plane, on this timeline. It was an honor to be with you today. Thank you.
Honor is ours. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Not that you go anywhere, but nonetheless.
Hello. All right. That was beautiful. Thank you. I feel very good. Gosh, you know, as a human, I do want to say we are all channels. And dude, this is like better than smoking a cigarette or anything. Drinking, I don't care. Like as a channel, we are all channels. It doesn't matter how you channel. Through creativity, through thought, through your imagination, through verbally channeling like I do, light language, running, climbing mountains, whatever it is that however you channel source, it feels good. And that is the place we all need to play.
So thank you guys for all your questions. Thank you, Kristi.
Oh, thank you for all the questions. I'm sorry. Yes, there were questions.
Thank you, Kristi, for everything that you've shared and for connecting us with the Boo Suite.
Thank you. That was a really hard question for me. I mean, as a human trying to explain through my human intellect, I don't even know what that question was, but whatever it was. Anyway, thank you for that really amazing question. I'm going to go listen to it later.
So I'm aware of the time.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's 3:30.
So what I would like to do is let people kind of understand how to connect with you and what you're offering and all of that good stuff. And then I can't resist sharing my ideas of the comment about if we were meant to meet someone in this life, will we meet them in the next? because I love playing in that space and
You
exploring
do.
those questions. And so
Is that what that
I
question was about? The hard one?
sort of. And so I'm really interested in sharing my thoughts for what it's worth, and kind of continuing the conversation with anybody that wants to stay on. I'm going to keep the recording on in case people are interested in listening to this afterwards, but I kind of want to bring our conversation to a close before I go there. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how can people connect with you? What's the best way to work with you?
Yeah.
What do you offer? ...
So you can connect with me through my website. There's a little like those little things that let me know what's going on. You can send me a little message. My website is, thank you, Sally. Thank you, Camille. Thank you, Cheryl. spiritguidedcreation.life. So spiritguidedcreation.life. The Boo Suite it is a great relationship we are in. I'm learning a lot. All sessions, first sessions are free. Spirit really wants that to be the way it is. And so I am aligning with that. So all first sessions, and I don't call them sessions. The Boo Suite doesn't like to call them sessions. I think it's communing. It's a way for equals to come together and have a real high level conversation, high perspective conversation. So please feel free to contact me. Every communing moment lasts for about, I don't know, 60, 90 minutes. Daniel, would you say? About that? I don't know. Sometimes it's 45. I'm not really sure on time. So please contact me. I love really connecting with the spirit, your higher self, your spirit, and we share. It's really fun. So that's how you can get a hold of me. Most of the things we chat about are just life. And one of the gifts that I have brought to this planet was really opening up you to experience your spiritual gifts, whether it be light language or channeling, however you see your gift and the gift that you want to expand, we can hold that space open for you, and we can commune in it together and have some fun in it together. So thank you very much. And really, thanks everyone for your support during this call. I could feel the energy. It was beautiful. Thank you.
And so I like the way that you described it, which is there's no time associated with these conversations.
No.
But if somebody is looking to kind of plan and have an understanding, they tend to be 60 minutes, give or take, either a little bit shorter, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But there's no set time. That's the way that you described it to me, which I
Yeah,
like.
it is true. I don't even, you know what? Spirit and I are playing a lot with abundance and time. And neither, like, time does not exist, but it does. And it's very confusing as a human. So thanks, Casey. Thank you, Arturo.
So for those of you that are with us tomorrow, we have Javona Klassen, who's also new to the platform. Chiara Prato, who's one of my practice friends that those of you who have been with me in the past are familiar with. And then, of course, there's me. I'm going to close off the season. And so it'll be interesting because I've never done the last session of the season before. I was thinking about how I haven't done the opening session in a long time, and now I'll be doing the closing session, which will be a lot of fun.
Do you have a dance or something prepared?
I wish I was that playful and creative. No, I don't have a dance or a song or anything created.
An interpretive spirit dance.
Correct. So hopefully you guys can join us tomorrow, and of course there's always the recordings. For those of you that aligned with Kristi and would like to play with the Boost Suite, they're amazing. I've had a number of conversations with them, and I'm always interested in reconnecting with them and chatting with them. They're a lot of fun to play with. And if you happen to resonate with me and the way that I work, again, I'll talk more about that in my own session, but the easiest way is the membership community, which is in the website. The little play link above will take you to the membership community. It's every week we get together Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 90 minutes plus. Sometimes we go 3-4 hours, where we talk about these things. It's just an open conversation to explore the edges of our own understanding and help each other to learn and grow and understand who we are. So
can I plug you for a second? Would that be okay?
Of course, go for it.
Daniel and I are new friends, but I feel like we're old friends. And that's probably what people in the spiritual world say about each other anyway. But still, I truly feel this way. Daniel has a very unique way of looking at vocabulary and helping me as a human, the human me, because be more specific, not specific, I think more accurate. Precision of language is important. I tend to be a little more, and I really love the calmness, perspective, and non-judgmental approach that Daniel lovingly takes with me every time we talk. It's pretty rad. So thank you for that. Daniel has a ton of wisdom. I really appreciate that about you, Daniel. Tons of wisdom and tons of love.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
May I challenge you a little bit?
Oh my God, really?
Right? Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
On recording.
Don't lose the because that's what makes you you. The invitation isn't for you to lose that. The invitation is for you to add more awareness to how it is that you're describing things, so that the people you work with have a clear message of what it is that you're inviting them to explore. But don't lose the why, because that's what makes you so beautiful and so special.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. But it's important for all of us to have a Daniel in our lives who can really help us. You are, as a channel, and this is the thing, can I just say one quick, I know we're sensitive on time.
Go for it.
As a channel, I don't know what people interpret, and I can only give my experiences as a verbal channel. While we are all connected to spirit and our peeps, we are channeling higher knowledge with our human brain in some cases. While most of it comes from the heart, there is a lot of translation occurring, and having someone like Daniel or someone in your life who can help you with language is critical. I'm learning that lesson. It's really important. So thank you for that. It's been helping me a lot to translate.
And so
Bye,
for people
Sally, have a good sleepy time.
Hey Sally, have a good night. Thanks for staying so late. I know it's late for you.
Arturo, thanks for fun together.
I know, right?
Thank you, Arturo.
So for those of you that aren't familiar with me, and again, I'll talk about this during my session, but Kristi's kind of bringing this up. What I enjoy doing is I enjoy helping people understand who they are. And so in deepening an understanding of who you are, what you say and how you say it comes from that place. And there is an aspect of, I love language, you know, it's come up on a number of sessions throughout this season. I love the specificity of language and the limitation that language creates. And so because language is so limiting, how I use language is very important to me. And so I try and highlight that with people that choose to engage in my circle and give me the opportunity to challenge them in this way.
I love
lovingly.
Always lovingly, always lovingly, always lovingly. And I always give you flack back, but you always take it lovingly. So that's good.
So anyway, thank you guys for being here with us. Like I said, for those of you that are going to be joining us tomorrow, looking forward to having you join us. And if you're listening to the recording, looking forward to seeing you in the recording. Thank you again for being here, Kristi. An honor to have you come and play. Thank you to the Boo Suite for everything they shared. I feel that the conversation is incomplete, so I'm looking forward to continuing that.
Okay, me too.
And so I will leave you guys for now with being spirit, being human, and simply being from love. So I will see you soon. And so having said that, okay, so for anybody that's interested in the after party.
Yo, after party.
This is the after party. This is after the official session. The session's done.
Okay, good.
So, okay, so
Let
let me
take
actually.
a bio break. Can you?
Yeah, of course.
And then I'll come back. Okay,
Yeah. Recording is still on. Yes, the recording is still on purpose because I think that this might be helpful for some people. What I'm about to share. Go take a bio break if you want. Absolutely.
Okay. But Cheryl has just wrote something big.
So if you were meant to meet someone and free will comes into play and changes the course, I believe we know them before, and that's just life on this crazy place with our humanness and experiences. Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm going to propose something to everybody that's listening. Why don't we all take a few minutes? I'm going to leave the recording on. So there's going to be a bit of silence for people that are listening to the recording. So just skip forward. Actually, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the recording. Let's just all take 5 minutes, be back at 1/4 hour, and then we can continue with this conversation for anybody that wants to continue the conversation, because I love this topic. It's really a lot of fun for me to play in this space, and I've got a lot of ideas that have helped me, and I'm happy to share them if people are interested. Sound good? And the other thing is I'm going to stop sharing the screen with just Kristi and myself. And so if you are here and you don't want to appear in the video, hide your picture. And if you don't want your name to appear, change your name, or send me a message in the chat for me to change your name if you can't change your name. And so I'm going to pause the recording for now. I will be back. Okay, so we're recording again. So welcome back. Okay, so let me preface this with a lot of by the ways. There are no truths, as best as I can understand. There are no truths. What I am going to share with you is the models that I have created because they make sense to me to put them into this structure, knowing that the structure is limitless and only a temporary way for me to explain these things for people that I connect with and are looking for clarity in their own lives. It is not the truth. It is not a truth. Farthest thing from truth that can be. It is just a useful description in my personal life. A lot of, let me rephrase, let me kind of start this on, and let me do something else, because I always forget this. Shannon, are you still on? Okay, just in case. Amazon. Shannon Johnson. Cool Counsel. Okay. I always forget the name. Kristi's going to laugh. Names and I don't get along very well. So Shannon's book, Stones of Wisdom from the Cool Counsel. I've mentioned this book before in previous seasons, and I will always mention this book as an incredible read. It is a channeled book that Shannon did a few years ago from her team of some pretty advanced beings, and using that word advanced in air quotes, right? Within that book, there's a description that I found really helpful that started me in creating my own model of what I'm going to share with you. So it isn't exactly what Shannon is written in the book, but it is it started with that as the foundation. And then the work that I do with people that are exploring past lives and in between lives, and my whole experience of that then has added to the way that I describe what I'm about to describe. Take everything I say with a lot of salt, not just a grain, but a lot of salt, okay? When we, and I alluded to this in the question that I asked the Boo Suite, when we have a life plan, an agreement, I don't like the word contracts because contracts seem so formal and fixed and legally bounding, and I don't like the word contract. I tend to use the word agreement. Hypothetically speaking, say Kristi and I made an agreement to meet kind of later in life in our, late 40s, early 50s, so that we could help each other out in a certain way. And now that could be a life partner, it could be a boss-employee relationship, anything of that nature, best friends, things like that. Whatever relationship we decided to kind of play with each other. But it's like when we're up in spirit and we're saying, okay, I'm going to live the life of Daniel. Who wants to come play with me to take this role? And then Kristi raises her hand and goes, I would love to be that person in your life. And so we collectively collaborate on who we're choosing to partner with in this life. And some of these agreements are a little bit more binding in the sense that these are a family that we're born into. And some of these agreements are friends that we meet along the way. Again, from the Boo Suite's description, we all know each other. It's all one. So none of this conversation is really that necessary. But since our humans love to put structure and models around things, when we come across life with Kristi and myself, where we are choosing our own choices in life and making our own decisions, every choice that I make either moves me towards the agreement that Kristi and I had, or it moves me away from it. Now, the choices that Kristi makes, again, either move her towards the agreement or move her away from the agreement. If we have an agreement that we are looking to get together at a certain time in our lives, and Kristi and I were planning on living in the West Coast, I'm now in the East Coast, so that encounter never happened. How do we then meet? Well, the invitation, the idea is that there's this whole legion of energies that love to play and are specialized in working the energies of possibilities to create synchronicities that might align us back into a meeting later on in life. And this is what I love, is that there's this whole legion of energies that are picking up after us based on the decisions that we make, that either point us in the direction of the lessons that we're looking to learn, or put us in contact with our divine playmates that we were looking to learn and play with. Now, Michael Newton in his book talks about how if Kristi and I were looking to be partners, intimate partners of really in-depth relationship, we are pre-programmed with ideas, with little bubbles of information that will pop when we first encounter each other. So I will be drawn to, oh, I love the way that she has her hair. I love that hair. Or I'm personally, no offense, Kristi, I know nothing about you. I like legs. And so no surprise, if somebody wants to get my attention, they're going to wear either a short dress, a short skirt, a dress that has a long slit, where it's going to draw my attention to their legs, and they have to have nice legs. Otherwise, they're not going to catch my attention. Not in that way. And so these are all kinds of little bubbles, like, the example that Michael Newton gives in his book, and maybe this is also Brian Wise. I can't remember where I read this. It might have been one or the other. Say, for example, Kristi is wearing a necklace, and light is going to flash off the necklace in a reflection that's going to catch my eye. This is pre-programmed. And so there's going to be a relationship where light is going to hit the necklace, that's going to catch my eye, that's going to make me look in that direction. I'm going to go, oh. Now, if I don't recognize the relationship with Kristi right away, there's some other things that we plan so that it isn't just the light in there. It's also how she's dressed. It's also the kind of hair that she has that aligns with my own ideas of beauty and attraction. And so there's a lot of elements that go into play of planning this encounter so that you recognize me and I recognize you, and so that we can make that connection, because we have our free will and I can ignore you completely because my mind is up in my head and I'm not paying attention to the energy that day. And so there's a number of kind of fail safes into it. Now, if I miss that opening and that invitation, this is when this legion of army comes in to kind of play in the background to recreate and re-enable another possibility for us to connect. Now, if our choices are such that we cannot reconnect in this lifetime, to the comment that was made in the chat, absolutely, we reconnect in another lifetime to work on whatever lessons and plans and interactions we were looking to play with in this lifetime. Now, as it's been stated, there is no past, present, and future. And so this isn't a future life. It's another life. Now, whether it happens in past or present or future is beside the point. And so when the Boo Suite says, you already know each other, you're already working together, in my model, this is, if Kristi and I didn't connect in this lifetime, then, well, there's another alternate lifetime where we're connecting and we're doing the work that we agreed to do together. And it's happening simultaneously. So yes, we are already working together. It's just not in this lifetime. And then you bring in the question of timelines. And then that goes into another wormhole altogether about, well, in this lifetime, Kristi and I didn't connect, but in another timeline within this same Earthverse, but in a different timeline, we did connect because we made different choices. So I stayed in London with my girlfriend instead of going to Singapore. And because I was in London with my girlfriend, I made the decision to take a job with a company that took me out to the West Coast. And so now I'm in Seattle and we happen to connect, where the choice that I made about going to Singapore made that possibility impossible. And so it's a fun exploration of possibilities, but the invitation here is there's no structure to any of this, and these are just ideas. So hopefully this is helpful.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Past
Yes.
lives, alternate lives, future lives.
Yes, those are important. And yet they are not important. What they are important to do is to play, I think that, to play with it. And was this part of the question earlier?
There was a question about what happens in relationships if you were destined to get together and they don't actually connect.
Wow. Interesting. That's
Now,
interesting.
here's another little addition to this. As I have come to understand.
Oh, Shannon's
again,
back, by the way. You asked if she just popped back in.
Hey, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
So again, just an idea. It's my idea, right? What I have come to understand in working with past lives and future lives and in between lives and all of that space, to be honest, I haven't really played in future lives because that's a different conversation altogether for me. But playing in the space of alternate lives, what I have come to understand is the multidimensional aspect of our experience allows for us to bounce from one life to another. And so when people are working through a lifetime of obesity and then they connect with someone in past life regression and they take them to a past life where they were assassinated or they were killed with food, or poisoned or something, and then that association then led to their current situation in this lifetime. Those are happening actually simultaneously. They're not happening past. The lifetimes are related. There's a link between the frequency of that lifetime with the frequency of this lifetime. So what happens in that lifetime is being influenced, that influence is being felt in this current lifetime. And so it's simultaneous. And so when we connect with an alternate lifetime that is associated with the quote unquote issues that we are dealing with in this life, we're not necessarily looking to resolve something in the past to then heal from it. What we're doing is we're connecting our awareness of this lifetime with our awareness in that lifetime so that we can collaborate and share and heal together. And so while we are healing ourselves, and I'm using healing in air quotes, while we're healing ourselves, we're also healing that lifetime as well. And so there's a lot more interdimensional play into all of this. And so if Kristi and I were destined to meet in this lifetime and we didn't, well, the lifetime of Stefano, which I experienced in 1750, was a lifetime where my brothers ended up assassinating me. That lifetime, Kristi's in that as well. And so let's play with that energy to connect them, and so that they can have the relationship that they were looking to have as Kristi and Daniel. And so there's a lot. There's a lot more kind of interplay and kind of bouncing back and forth between the multidimensional aspect of who we are to connect with the energies that we are looking to connect with, to have the relationships that we are looking to have. Is any of this helpful?
Is that like a ripple effect then? Like what happens?
Well, ripple effect again implies kind of a linear aspect, right? That if you drop the pebble in the middle of the ocean, then the ripples then extend outwards. So yes, but no, because there's no your life as Arturo in this life touches and is felt and influences every single aspect of consciousness instantly. So when people say, oh, I'm not important, I'm always like, you have no idea how impactful you are. There is no other Arturo that has ever lived or will ever live. The beauty and power that you bring to your creativity and to your ideas and your desires is unique. There is no one else that can ever do it the way you do and ever will. And you, Arturo, are connected to a higher self of some sort, again, assuming that this is a human construct. Within that higher self, there's a number of different sparks that are also playing their own lifetimes. And the soul of Arturo may also have multiple lifetimes that the soul of Arturo is playing. And so then we can kind of go down that rabbit hole, right? And so there's a multidimensional aspect of our existence that is all interwoven and working beautifully in our own expansion. And we have this incredible ability to kind of bounce back and forth. So the ripple effect of me going into so let me give you an example. If you go to my website, somewhere within my website, and I'm currently redoing my website anyway, but somewhere within my website, there is a link to a case study of a woman that I worked with in a past life regression that was so beautiful that I had to put it in writing and share it with the world. This is a story of a woman who went back into the life of a little girl, a child who was with her family, mother, sister, younger brother who was an infant, sister, I think, had also a baby. And a lion came into their proximity. And so the family runs and she is left behind. And the lion ends up taking her and mauling her and dragging the body to where the rest of the pride is, and then waits for the rest of the pride to arrive while this human body is bleeding out and feeling pain. And this was all felt. by the way. This was all experienced by her. Throughout this whole conversation, she is talking about, she's feeling the emotions of being abandoned, of being left behind, of the sadness that she feels, and all of these things. Then she eventually transitions, goes into the afterlife, and is playing in the spirit world. We connect with her team. And within that understanding of the spirit world, as soon as she transitioned out of the body, I was already asking her questions about the lesson from that life. Within that lifetime, within that conversation, and I'll shortcut this, with the conversation with her soul in reviewing the lifetime, as well as a conversation with her primary guide, or one of her primary guides that connected the dots for us, it became clear that she wasn't abandoned, that she had chosen to sacrifice herself for the safety of her family. Now imagine the ripple effect if one is to look at the linear timelines of multiple lives that have a connection to that experience, where if she is living from a perspective of feeling abandoned and left by her family, the impact that that has on her in other lifetimes as it relates to the trust and love that she's willing to give to her family. Now, the moment that she understood and felt the truth of her experience, that it was from courage and love that happened, and that it wasn't an abandonment, but it was a sacrifice that she made for the love and safety of her family. Now imagine the ripple effect as that understanding then extends to every lifetime that had been previously affected by the old idea and the old perspective. And now her team in the language says that she has lived many lifetimes with this misunderstanding, and now that she knows the truth of it, she can move on with a different understanding of life. Now, what's interesting to play with is that it isn't that she was living multiple timelines, this wasn't affecting, multiple timelines in a linear fashion. It could have affected lifetimes in the past. It could have affected lifetimes in other dimensions. It could have affected, so there's no restriction to that. But as long as her soul was living in the misunderstanding, let me rephrase that. As long as her current human experience is living in the misunderstanding of it, even though her soul knows the truth, she's holding on to that human misunderstanding, which is affecting how she relates to her family and to her mother specifically. As long as she's holding to that misunderstanding, it's going to unconsciously affect the level of trust and love that she is willing to engage in with her mother. Does that make sense?
That's a watershed moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. And so you can see how once she knows the truth of that, then the ripple effect, using that language, across all lifetimes that were being affected by that misunderstanding have instantly been healed, have instantly shifted their experience. Shannon's laughing in the background. What are you laughing at?
She wrote something. You want to read it, Shannon, or do you want me to read it?
Yes, it affects all that are linked, and the healing she did in that current lifetime on that impacts and heals all the connecting lifetimes. Yeah. See, like minds think, great minds think alike. Is that the So is this helpful? And again, these are just ideas and things to kind of play with and explore and kind of contemplate and reflect on as exercises of fun and play.
It is. It is fun and play. And I think what's important in the alignment of all this is that what was the meaning that was behind her story? The abandonment story versus the I saved my family story. And how does that story change her, not only in this lifetime, but like you said, it healed, repaired those aren't the right words, but we know that. But right, yeah, it actually changes how you respond in this lifetime, which is the most important thing, because it's all about the now. Ooh, I like that. Casey, she had a Casey being, I don't know the gender, so I apologize, because it could be Casey at the bat, or it could be Casey. But anyways, I have a strong reaction to that. So I wonder if I had a similar thing, was not abandoned, but this was like the strong one.
And so
be a really good thing to explore with Daniel.
One of the things to kind of play with this, and Casey, you know, again, if you can't find the case study, if you go to my website and go to Life Beyond Form, I think it's within the spiritual journey. I think it's in that section. I'm still in the process of redoing it, but within the Life Beyond Form section of my website, in the spiritual journey section, there should be a link to the case study. If you can't find it, let me know, send me a note, and I'll send it to you. But take a read through it. It might awaken something in you. I couldn't get it to open. Interesting. I'll need to take a look at that.
I'll have to fix it.
So this woman's higher self chose the experience of abandonment to experience what that means and how it impacts life. And then when she was done with the lesson, I'm done. I'm ready to let this go. How do I do this? Well, one way is, you know, you can connect with Daniel and he can point you to see the truth of your experience so that you can instantly let it go. Or you're drawn to psychotherapy. You can go into psychotherapy and you can talk it out for, you know, weeks and months and work it out little by little, or you can go to ... fill in the blank, right? But there's an essence where, again, we don't know what the soul's path is and what the soul has chosen to experience. And so there's no judgment in any of this. But what's really fascinating is as we are able to shed light on truths of our experience, it allows us to rewrite the things that we have written as a misunderstanding, because we all have them. We all have misunderstandings based on things that we decide on in life. When this happens, that means this. And that's based on this life and other lives influencing that model of if-then statement. And this is how we live in life. When I see a chair, I don't need to spend, you know, hours on end understanding what the chair is to recognize that a chair is a chair. So I've got a model that says this is a chair, this is what it looks like, this is what it's for. And if something looks similar to that, guess what? It's also a chair. And so we create these models to help us navigate through life easily and efficiently. Otherwise, we'd get overwhelmed as a human. We wouldn't be able to function. Could you imagine every time you saw a chair, you'd have to spend 2 hours or 3 hours investigating it and touching it and feeling it, and in order to let go and move on to the next chair? You know, you would be stuck looking at chairs for the rest of your life, right? And so our human is designed to look for similarities and to create these if-then statements so that it can quickly process and experience life more efficiently, more effectively. And what we do innocently is we create innocent misunderstandings into those models.
May I ask what I am receiving as you are speaking about this is that, and it's true in anything, the story or the experience that this person experienced, you met them where they were, and that takes away all judgment, right? We could have, I could have stepped into that story and said, hey, you know, what does it matter in this lifetime, or had judgment about it. When you step into those moments, meeting people where they are, then that takes away all judgment. And now you can play in that space. I love that, because you're meeting them where they are.
I'm not. It's got nothing to do with me. It's got nothing to do with me. Their journey is their journey. Their journey is information that their spirit team is sharing with them that they are ready to hear and ready to feel.
Yeah.
And yes, my position is of non-judgment, but I'm not, it's not about me and how it's not my non-judgmental aspect that makes it possible. It's their, and again, I'm being corrected here. So there's some truth in what you're saying, that the energy that I bring into it, of course, has an influence on the way that they interpret their experience, but it's more about their experience than it is about my non-judgmental stance.
True. And my challenge back to you, not a challenge, just a statement, is that in these moments, as humans, we feel things, suffer, we feel distress, and when we come in contact with a human that is not judgmental, that receives our story, regardless. I mean, you have a spirit team, spirit friends with you all the time. We still, I know, I from my own experience, I still hunger and crave and want to be with and comforted by and understood by my human family. And you provided that. Whether or not the work was done.
Agreed. I can appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's really what I meant. It required you as a human to be in a place where you met them in that story where they were. Now the spiritual work was done out in you, through you, by you. But yeah, so anyways, that's what I meant.
Yes, and so thank you. There is an element where my understanding and my approach and my knowing that everybody is whole will have an influence on how they receive and perceive that information that they get. So I appreciate that. And so I am involved in that. So thank you for that. But Arturo, you had something that you were going to say, and I kind of interrupted you and then kind of went into a different direction.
That's okay. You didn't interrupt. It just gave me more time to I guess, reformat my question. What about somebody that's dealing with a strong desire to control a situation or just an environment completely out of their, like me, I have this constant, like, it's a struggle. It really is for me. And I try and look at it so many different ways, but, and I don't know if it's, I feel like it is judgment, because I am trying to control someone's situation, how they respond, how they behave, how I respond, how I behave. At times I find it difficult to be in a state of equanimity where I am okay with what happens around me, and I can be in a hurricane and not be affected by it. I find it hard to stay there, but I always keep going back to the trying to control, wanting this strong, like, need to fix. I can fix, and I know I can't. And I know that it's wasted energy, but it just keeps coming back to me. And it's that little, and I don't know if it's a lesson I need to learn, but it's this knock in the back of my head saying, you need to fix that. You know better than they do. I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Is someone leaving?
That's where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying you want to address this, Shannon?
Please, yes.
Yeah. Yourself. So I feel really bad. Arturo, Shannon, everybody here, I have to go because I promised my husband we'd go eat food.
Talk to you later.
I don't know how I was supposed to eating, I don't know, rocks. But it was such an honor and such a pleasure. And I look forward to connecting with you in the future. And Shannon, I'm going to listen to this recording because you can't even restrain yourself. Okay. All right. Thanks, my friends. Bye. Thank you.
So, Arturo, for you, this is a couple different layers. It's not just a now. It's not just a, you can hear me?
Yes.
Let me make sure I can be heard first, because I have a problem with that sometimes.
Yes, you're not
sometimes
muted.
I'm still muted in other spots that I missed. But no, so I was hearing when you were asking about that in that way. so you have a bleed, not a bleed. So there's an attribute from a couple of lifetimes in which control was the feeling of having no control over any decisions is very present. And it's still very present with the energy that you brought forward this time to rework it from a new approach. So like I keep seeing you in a very, very formal bodice with the strings in the back, and it's very tight, and it's a very royal family, and it's very, you have no choices. There is no choices, not even in how you die. There's no choices in this lifetime. So the feeling of always having them stripped away from you is a tangible energy in this lifetime, that you need the feeling of being in control, when what part of the lesson is learning how to tell that voice that no, we are quiet, to quiet down, that no, we are safe. There is nothing to fear of what is coming forward, because it's also linked to another I feel like another lifetime that's being presented of having to have a lot of courage and having to make adventures outside of comfort in order to protect others. So there's a lot of dynamics at play for you in that feeling of control and trying to let go. In this time, there the team is saying the whole thing is for you to work with that voice that's in your head, because that's old and residual and it doesn't serve you anymore, of the fight of who needs to have control in order for you to relax into the energy that I am always in control, even when it seems like the world has taken the wheel from your hands. And that the subtle energy is always listening to the voice of manifestation and creativity. And the more that you can play with that energy for yourself to begin changing the words you're hearing, reworking the sentences, will help you to bring that energy neutral. And then you're going to be able to shed it and feel like every time that spin starts to happen, you are able to instead to step into it as a power versus stepping away from it as a unknown. Did that make any sense?
Oh, yes, it made a lot of sense. Actually gave a little teary-eyed because it was powerful.
Thank you. I
Thank you so much.
I couldn't help it. They're like, hey.
It was it's good. It's good. It was
Good.
that helped. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I feel like
lean into that, and you'll be able to diffuse it into a neutral, so you can be more in the flow the way you want to be, because it's tangible for you. It's just like Daniel, the theme. See, the theme of this season, words have power.
You know, there's something else I have experienced, a couple of other things, clairsentience, and also like an intuitive empath. That's like I am able to feel somebody's energy, and I feel their emotions like they're mine, and I will have somebody come up, and like people that have been in my house working on something, strangers will open up and talk to me and tell me things, and next thing you know, they say, I don't know why I said that to you. I know why they said it, and they feel better when they leave, and I'm grateful for that. That's, to me, that's money in the bank. That feeling of I was just able there to listen, to receive, and then to be able to, I don't want to say advise.
The hard part is transmuting that back out, because you're absorbing their heaviness off of them. This is the healer Okay, this is the healer attribute that you are very present in. It's just that it overwhelms, and there gets to a point, I can feel it. It's like there's points that you feel you have to break down. Like you can't even hold your own thoughts and energy anymore. And that is the bogging of everybody's work recording. Yeah, all the shit that's being bombarded into you, but that's a healer attribute that you're working with. And so for you, part of the process of coming into your awakening of that power energy, that healing power that you have, that energy is very embracing and opening. So it's not just being an empath. The empathic trait is the attribute of the healer energy that is present for you to then step into that that type of work. So I would say learning different ways of transmuting the energy that you are absorbing from everywhere and everyone will be a really big tool for you, because it's not just that they feel comfortable. It is that energy exchange that's happening, and then they walk away feeling great, and you are over here going, whoa, wow, okay, like I need a nap and like 3 Tylenol and okay, I just got hit by a train. And that's because they just released all of that heaviness, and you are a transmuter of that density. It is a natural ability. So you're being presented with the opportunity to explore that further and find different, I would say definitely explore some different energy healing modalities. Not so much that you're having to go work on others as much as being able to use them for yourself. And learning techniques of helping your energy to work with that when you're in different types of environments.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can see you get to the point that it's like an overload, and then you just have like a break,
Yeah.
a breakdown almost. And there's even points that you've gotten sick from it, like having a cold or a flu. Even the vomiting, the nausea, the upset stomach, the
Oh, gosh.
difficulty with eating.
I get that.
That is from your solar plexus is trying to process all that dumping others are doing. And I'm seeing the energy as well of like when you go out, Daniel knows now, he goes out, he leaves little, Reiki bombs around. For you, you're the one that's picking up everybody's dust bunnies.
Yeah. It's like if I can walk, if I use this as an example, walking through the grocery store. If I walk into somebody's anger, imagine walking through a room and you walk into a fart,
Yes.
the smell throws you back. The energy throws me back, when it's unpleasant like that.
Yes.
And I don't know, I haven't learned yet how to manage that, how to, I guess, not receive it, not take it in. I'm able to identify I am able to identify when the emotions are not mine, when they're not coming from me, like anger and anxiety and fear. And now I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Can I share a couple things here?
Go for it.
So, as always, take everything that you're hearing from myself and Shannon with a grain of salt. What first came to me when you asked your question was my own journey of learning to recognize that people aren't broken. learning to recognize that, moving away from the idea of, if you only knew what I knew, your life would be better. So let me tell you what I know, which is where I was coming from. And getting to a point in recognizing my own journey where you're experiencing your life because you are a master in your own right. And you're experiencing your life because there's something there. Now, I am of the personality where I want to help people live a better quality of life. So I'm happy to share my experiences with you of what I found to be helpful in my journey. But I'm not here telling you that you're broken or that you need to do anything differently. And when I got to a point where I started understanding that truth, it changed the way that I interacted with others and the way that I would share information with others and the way that I interpreted their energy and how to deal with it and how to manage it. Just recently, Matt Kahn put out a video promoting a new course that he was offering. And within the video, he talks about empathy in a beautiful way that I'd never heard someone else describe, which I really liked. And what he said is that people that are empaths are here to help transmute the energy of the world. That is your gift. That is your ability. And the more that you understand the nature of how all of these energies are transient, and the less you engage with them, the less impact they're going to have in your life. And the more energy you'll be able to transmute and transform easily and gracefully. Now, what I thought was really cool is that in an earlier conversation this season, I forget who we were speaking with, but we talked about how she has found that as she has evolved, she's no longer as affected by other people's energy. And I connected some dots and I went, isn't that interesting? I wonder if, as we expand into an understanding of who we are, the efficiency at which we transmute energy happens at a different level, where it doesn't impact our drama and trauma centers. Because we have a different relationship with the drama and trauma centers of our human. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there's an aspect where what I would invite you to do, which is a little bit differently than what Shannon is recommending, is I would actually encourage you to understand how the mind works. Understand how thought is being utilized to create emotion and the role that emotion plays in your experience and the energy that flows through all of that, so you can understand the system from which you are playing in order to have that different perspective. And of course, the idea of learning energy and learning energy healing and learning how to transmute energy through different modalities, absolutely helpful. And I don't disagree with what Shannon is recommending, but I think that there's a lot of value in understanding the structure of the system from which you are playing in order to have a more evolved response, a more educated response.
I had some experiences with Sarah Landon and Ryan Willoughby.
Yeah.
And channeling with the council. And a big takeaway from Sarah I got was, consciousness moves energy into form. Your thoughts create your reality.
Yeah.
And one day the light bulb just went off, and I kept saying this to myself, repeating it over and over, and then one day it all made sense.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning how to get into this mindset of creating a great day, creating a joyful day, creating wonderful experiences. And I've even tested it by trying to transmute the energy in the room. Like when I go to get my hair cut, the woman that cuts my hair, she'll start off with a negative, and I'm just always throwing out a positive. And by the end of the conversation, she's happy and we're laughing, and took some conscious effort in the beginning, but now it's becoming a little bit more effortless to do that.
Yeah.
But
Isn't
I
that
found
beautiful?
I am not, to stay at that level, at that frequency, at that vibration. When like I said, when I walk through a parking lot, I can feel people's emotions, and whether it's anger or happiness, and it's like I'm just getting bombarded with it, and trying to stay focused and not take any of it in.
Now,
But
here's a
there are days
couple of
where,
things that I'll say.
yes,
Do you recognize how gifted you are to recognize that these energies aren't yours? Because the majority of empaths have no idea, and they're struggling thinking that it's their own energy.
it took a long time, but I'm getting there.
Do you recognize how powerful that awareness is? What I'm inviting you to do is to recognize and show gratitude for where you already are. Because believe me, compared to a lot of other empaths, myself included, I cannot tell if it's my energy or someone else's. I'm still learning that myself.
See, I can tell, and that's where the desire, that strong desire to control, right? That's where that comes in, and that's where I fall short.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's where I fall
okay.
short every time.
Yeah. And now here's the thing. Ready? You're not falling short. You're not falling short. Your process of learning how to transmute energy in a way that is healthy for you and long-lasting for you and sustainable for you is exactly the path that you're on. And no one has done it the way you're doing it. You're not falling short. Like I say, I mean, I am in awe and gratitude of the power that you are, that at the level that you're at. Most people aren't anywhere close to what you've already understood. And so what little you feel you already understand is already leaps and bounds above the majority of the people. There's an element of, believe me, I'm a self-critic. I've been my entire life. I'm still learning to live in grace. And so I shared these cards earlier, and so I'm going to invite these. Do you associate at all with dragons? Do you like dragons?
I do. I have a dragon tattoo, another dragon tattoo. I am. Yes.
This is Grace.
Grace.
She appeared in my energy a couple of weeks ago when I was having a meltdown of where I am in my journey and that I'm not strong enough or good enough or powerful enough. This is self-love. So grace and self-love appeared in my energy a couple of weeks ago because I was feeling what I am feeling from you right now. Invite them in. Invite these dragons to play with you and to assist you as you expand into a deeper understanding of who you are. As you understand the levels of engagement that you are allowing yourself to give away your power to something other than you. And it's innocent. Our humans are designed to feel like our experience is happening outside of us. And so it's easy, very easy for us to fall into the trap and misunderstanding, innocent misunderstanding that we are feeling the way we are because of ... Really, really easy. Our humans are designed for that. So give yourself a lot of compassion because your human is designed to experience exactly what you're experiencing. Give me a second. Sí. Sí. No, necesita algo. Necesita algo. Bueno, cuando salga le doy de comer, ¿ok? Pero ahorita todavía estoy platicando. Okay. Mom's getting hungry and she just woke up, so
I understand.
I'm gonna need to go feed her soon. But okay, so given the connection that you have with energy, your sensitivity to energy, can you feel the love that I have for you?
Yeah, I
Can you
can.
feel that?
You can. Yeah.
That's real. Now, this is who you are. Your ideas of what you are or what you aren't because of what you haven't been able to learn to do, it's just a beautiful part of the journey that we're struggling through as we try and remember the truth of who we are. And I myself go through many moments where I go into self-doubt and self-criticism and judgment of how slow I'm progressing. But then during these conversations that I have with people in the show, I say, listen, I am on this path with you. And if you have appreciation for the wisdom that I am sharing with you in this call, know that I am with you. I'm struggling just on your side. My approach to working with people and talking to people is not to pull you along with me, but to push you in front. You are leaps and bounds ahead of me. I can guarantee that. Leaps and bounds ahead of me. Give yourself credit, give yourself gratitude for what you have already accomplished. It is amazing. It is powerful. It is magnificent. It is majestic. Now, within that majesty, there are still some areas that you're looking to fine-tune. Those are minor in comparison to where you've already reached and the level that you're already playing at. You're playing at a level that is so expansive. And the questions that you're experiencing is because you know that you can feel yourself playing at an even deeper level than you are right now. And that's exciting to you and also frustrating because you know that you could be there. But you already are. There's a question and a wonder that I will present to you, which is in the next few days or in the next couple of weeks, I wonder what signals will come your way that will allow you to connect dots, that will show you that you are farther along than you realize and you're giving yourself credit for.
Can I show you something? I
Absolutely.
went out for a walk last week, and maybe the week before, and I had something on my mind. I was trying to work through stuff. I found 8 bird feathers
Oh, wow.
on my hat. I walked for about 4 blocks and decided to turn down a different. I just, something told me, turn around and go down this other street. The way I did, I would stop in the shade. I live in Palm Springs. It's very hot in the summer, so I'd stop under a tree to rest. And I look down. There's a bird feather sitting there, and you know, every time I look at my phone, I see 111, I see 222, 333, 444, 555. And I feel like these are nudges that I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path. And I think where I fall short is that I don't give myself the credit for being where I am. I don't give myself credit for the I don't know, gifts is the right word. I don't want to say gifts because I feel like that might be arrogant.
We can use
abilities.
gifts in this conversation without the arrogance.
Gifts and abilities, I will say.
Yeah.
And
The things that you are naturally inclined towards effortlessly and beautifully.
I internalize someone else's opinion of failure as I can take on somebody else's fear of failure. And I'm able to recognize that now, that not you, Daniel, but what somebody else is giving me, that opinion is their fear of failure being projected onto me, but somehow I internalize that. And I want to move past that.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Everything you feel has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the world around you. Everything you feel has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the world around you. There is nothing that you need to control. Just your awareness that this energy exists and you're letting it go. You're allowing it to pass without judgment. And this is the tricky one for us, right? Without judgment. The more we're able to allow energy to flow freely, we allow energy to express itself. Go back to the conversation with Elena, where she talked about she had a lot of tragedies in her life in a very short period of time. And what she was exposed to was this understanding that all of this energy is available. And if she doesn't attach it to a meaning of this is horrible, this is drama, this is trauma, if she just allows it to be without attaching a meaning to it, that energy is then available to be utilized at your will. For many years, we were told that what we are here to do is to transmute energy by giving it to Mother Earth, and she will take care of it. What we are being told now is we are here to transmute the energy ourselves, because we are Gaia. We are Mother Earth. We are Father Sky. We are this universe. And again, Shannon, wrote here, you are exactly as you need to be, and everything is unfolding for you to go as far as you want to go with this, or just for yourself. So I can tell you from my own journey, it's really frustrating when I see my friends do the things that they do, and I say, me too, please sign me up for that. I want to be able to do that too, and I can't yet. I haven't quite gotten there yet. I talk repeatedly about how I am not good at certain things, and that I don't do things the way that I would like to, and that I'm not quite there yet, and that I'm pointing myself in a direction. And then friends of mine will challenge me and say, but the language that you're using is limiting you. Yes, I'm aware of that. But the language that I'm using is on purpose so that you guys can recognize that I'm there too. I'm pointing myself in a direction, and I'm really excited to get to where I know I am going to be. And what my spirit friends tell me time and time again is enjoy the journey, because it is so incredible to look around and notice the butterflies flying through the trees, and noticing the sound of the brook in the distance while you're climbing up to the summit of the mountain. Mm. Most of us don't want to just be teleported to the top of a mountain. We want to enjoy the journey of climbing the mountain. We want to lose our breath. We want to use the muscles and feel like we actually, we're involved in the process, and to look around and look out across a clearing of trees that looks out into another mountain range in the distance. I mean, how amazing is that? I would have missed that if I had just transported myself to the summit of the mountain. And you know that you're capable of being on that summit. You can feel it, and a part of you already is. But the part of you that you're aware of right now is enjoying the walk up the mountain and everything that it has to share with you. Loving ourselves is one of the hardest things to do,
This guy's, yeah,
right?
self-love.
Right? Now, Sandra, in her talk earlier in the season, was talking about how she's moved from, and I'm going to butcher this because I don't remember her exact words, but she said something around how she's evolved from wanting to love herself to recognizing the importance and the power and the feeling of what self-love feels like. And what I challenged her with was to then recognize that where she's in now is to recognize that she is love. It's not about learning to love yourself. It's about recognizing that you are love. And we go through the stages that we each individually need to go through to get to that level, to get to that understanding of, wait, I am love. And your beautiful human is gifted with a personality and characteristics that create beliefs and ideas of limitations so that you can work your way through them in a unique and powerful way. I chose to live this human body with a very strong emphasis towards the intellect. And so when people say connect with the heart space, that's meaningless to me. So what I am working on is to find that space where the intellect and the heart can meet and work together. Because for me, I'm never going to give up my intellect. It's against my nature to live in the heart space. My human, it's just not built for that. But I can live in the heart space in collaboration with the head space. And so that's my journey. And it's not an easy one. Let me tell you,
I can identify with that, with what you said about the intellect and the heart space, and I can wrap my mind and understand the intellect, but when it comes to the heart space, it's just like I'm looking at abstract art, and trying to make sense of it, and I should just be still and
again, no should.
Get rid of the shoulds.
No should. You don't have to. Experiment with it, play with it. Now, people are going to say all kinds of things. Now, what are people talking about? They're talking about the ways that help them get to where they are. So let me teach a course. The course that I'm offering as part of this program is a new course that I'm putting together, which is inviting people to understand how the mind works and how the system of life works. Now, this is my understanding. And I've created this course as a way to share information so that something within you awakens that shows you the truth of who you are and how you relate to the truth of life and to how your individual mind works. Now, I can talk generalizations and universal ideas that hopefully are helpful to get you there, but I don't want to talk to you about this is the journey and this is what you need to do because this is what worked for me and this is what worked for, X number of people that have paid me whatever they've paid me and, whatever. It's not about the numbers. You are absolutely unique. Don't listen for what other people are telling you. Take what people are telling you to go within and find out your own answers. So for me, going into the heart is meaningless. And I've tried really hard to understand it and to try and get there. And I finally just kind of said, you know what? I am who I am. And I can't relate to this idea of being in the heart, but I can relate to the idea that the heart and the mind can collaborate and work synchronistically as opposed to combatively. So that's what I align to. And that's what I pursue in my own journey. Now, people talk about the importance of being in the heart space because that's our connection to the I am. And I totally understand that. I don't neglect or disregard Elena when she said that the heart is our connection to the I am energy. And so what I'm looking to do in my own journey is cool. Okay, well, what does that mean for me? How can I connect with that? And so the ideas of, imagine a staircase of, going through your head and through your throat and down into your heart. Now imagine opening a door and going into the door and going into this beautiful space that's expansive and beautiful, and all of that felt like garbage to me. I was like, yeah, this just doesn't resonate. So what did I do? I closed my eyes and I started recognizing and feeling, where's my awareness? And I started recognizing that I can actually shift my awareness to a different part of my body. And I noticed that when I shift my awareness to this part of my body, my mind becomes quieter. The quality of my thoughts changes. And then when I start to analyze it and intellectualize it, I can feel my energy then go up again. And so I started recognizing this within my own experience, and I went, oh, okay, that's cool. What is the heart space? You're caressing your beloved animal companion. There is love in that caress. That is the heart space. When you look into the eyes of your puppies and they're looking at you, you can feel that heart space. It's intuitive. When you notice the beauty of a flower out in nature, that recognition of that beauty is the heart space. And so I've started to recognize that more and more and saying, okay, I do know what the heart space is, but it's not the way other people describe it. And so I'm a big proponent of, you need to find your own way. You need to find your own path. You need to find your own language. And I'm happy to talk about my experience to kind of show you a possibility that you can latch onto and play with and explore for yourself if something within that resonates with you. But where am I coming from? I'm also coming from a position that you're already whole and you're perfect. And you can feel that. So I'm giving you the invitation for you to feel that within yourself in a way that you hadn't before. Right? Yeah. And so this is what we can do to help others, is where we are coming from, not what we are saying or how we're saying it or what language we use to describe things. So what's making the biggest influence for you is Shannon can feel the truth of who you are and the power of you are. Cheryl has shared that she can feel it too. I specifically asked you if you could feel the love that I feel for you, and you said yes. That, my friend, is what's transformative. That's what awakens something in you for you to recognize the truth of who you are, even by a little bit more. You know, the exercise of look at yourself in the mirror and say to you, I love you. Some people really struggle with that. I'm a little chunky right now. I'm a little overweight. I'm a little bit heavier than I would like to be. And when I look at myself in the mirror, I laugh. I love my body. I love myself. I love this experience of life. The other day, I was listening to somebody talk with an alien who was channeling through somebody else, and they were talking about, you know, they want to be on the mothership that comes to take us off this planet. I'm like, why would you want to leave this beautiful experience? I mean, this is an amazing experience. It's so incredible to be here. So incredible. I didn't come to be human to be taken off planet Earth to go somewhere else. If that was my choice, I would have just been born somewhere else. I wouldn't have chosen to be on this incredible planet and this incredible experience and this incredible transition that we're in. Redefining what it means to be human. You are redefining what it means to be you. It's an incredible honor. It's an incredible experience to redefine what it means to be human, and you're doing it within your own experience. And now you have awakened into certain gifts and certain abilities that transcend the old definition of what it means to be human. And so now part of our collective journey is to be with you while you learn what that means for you, because as you awaken to the truth of what that means for you, we all grow. We all expand. We're all influenced. How you live your life is felt and understood and seen by every single entity that has ever existed across the universal consciousness. Powerful to think about. And it's not about judgment. It's not like they're saying, oh my God, look at Arturo and the things that he's done. But it's looking at you in pride of what you've accomplished, of what you are exploring, and the challenges that you've put in front of yourself to expand even more. The pride that Spirit has for us is unimaginable. It's overwhelming when they present you with just a flavor of the pride they have for you. It's humbling.
Something I've experienced, I've experienced Spirit and receiving message from Spirit that I've delivered to people. And something I feel like I get a glimpse of is the love that comes from that Spirit. That it's a sensation I get. It's a tingling feeling. It's elation. It's joy. It's love. And I get a glimpse of that, and I thank them every time for showing me that. And that gives me hope. That keeps me going. That tells me, you're okay. This is what we're all meant to feel. And that is, I can't even put the love into words. Love is the only word, but I get these other things that go on in my body, and it's beautiful. It's joy.
That's amazing. So Shannon says here, I just heard that your heart space and intellect space are sharing a room. Roommates this time for purpose of exploring from a different view.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I don't know if that's for you or for me or for both, because we're both playing in that space, right? Now, here's the beauty of it.
Thank you, Shannon.
I'm going to share something that was shared with me because I feel it's true for you as well. I was told by the Boo Suite, as a matter of fact, that the reason I am taking as long as I am to expand into everything that I am is because I am so powerful and so different from anybody else that it's taking me a bit longer. Now, let me ask you, do you feel a sense of recognition in that within yourself?
It's taking me longer to arrive, to get there. Yeah, I keep thinking, like, I say my affirmations and I put my intentions forward, and I always say, use me for what is my purpose? What am I here for? Is this my purpose? If so, I find myself saying I'm ready, but I know I'm not. Like, what I'm experiencing tells me that I'm not there. But I hate the fact that but I feel like I'm creating that fear and that energy, the lack, when I think that I'm not there.
Okay.
I feel like I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Or maybe I am there and I just don't feel confident. I feel like approval has to come from somewhere outside of me, and that's not true.
Okay. Let me give you my experience. Ready?
Yes.
The Boo Suite asked me, what are my gifts? In the first conversation we ever had. So, full disclosure, Kristi reached out to me and said, hey, Daniel, I was really inspired to connect with you. I would love to channel for you. I'd never knew she existed before that message. And so I said, absolutely. So we got together and she channeled for me. In the first conversation, the Boo Suite asked me, What are your gifts? Now, if you ask me superficially, what are my gifts? I would say, I don't have any, because I haven't stepped into any of the gifts that I know are possible for me. I don't have the connection with spirit that Shannon does. I don't have information being given to me about your past and your connections with multidimensional beings. I don't have a lot of the gifts that a lot of my friends do. And so superficially, I would say I don't have any. I'm not there yet. But given the conversation that I was in, I said, well, let me tell you what I do have. I have a gift for language in the sense that the way that I describe things resonates with people in ways that they wouldn't have otherwise heard. I've been told time and time again that, Daniel, I don't understand this, what's going on here? And then I give my perspective on it, and they're like, oh, that just opened up all kinds of things for me.
I can see that.
I have a gift of seeing life differently than most. The way that I observe, the way that I interpret, the way that I interact, the way that I utilize the balance of my heart with my intellect, even though I don't give my heart enough credit, is a gift, because most people aren't able to do both. They can either do one or the other, but they can't do both. I have a gift of knowing. I've known things my entire life, but I don't know things like, I can't tell you that, you know, what's his name? Einstein. I can't talk to you about physics and metaphysics. Like, I don't know those kinds of things, but I know things. Like, I know how the intellect works with relation to our past lives and how that shares itself with multiple lives, and the integration of the consciousness between our current life and that other lifetime, and the healing that happens when we start to consciously merge the two. That's a knowing. I can't describe it any differently. Everything I've shared with you, everything that I have presented to you as a way for you to look at your life differently is my gift. Now, again, superficially, do I see that as a gift? No, because this is who I am. This is my nature. This is natural to me. It's obvious to me. I had a person ask me, teach me how to do what you do when you facilitate spiritual regressions. And I went, I don't do anything. I don't do anything. And again, you notice my response as soon as Kristi said, well, your role in this. And I went, no, my role isn't in this at all. But then I was like, well, yeah, of course my role has a lot to do with it, because I'm the one that's creating the space. I'm creating the environment for this to happen because of my understanding, because of the energy that I'm putting into it. And so I have a gift to help spiritual teams connect with their charges in a way that they couldn't have otherwise, regardless of how advanced they are. So if Shannon ever decides to do a session with me, it'll be unlike any other spiritual regression she's ever had, and it'll blow her mind. That is how unique I am. Now, not easy for me to say this, because it's really hard for me to see this. And so I'm sharing this with you because I bet you're the same as me. It's really hard for you to see the gifts that you have. I bet you it's really hard for you to recognize how amazing you are in your unique way, even if other gifts that you are stepping into haven't revealed themselves yet. We are all on this incredible journey of self-discovery, of learning to recognize the power that we are as divine energy in a individualized human form, unique in and of itself. And we are learning to step into a space on earth where we can play from that knowledge and to create as humans with that awareness. I mean, how incredible is that? I'm done playing in lack and limitation. I'm done. I've done that, been there, done that. I'm ready to see what it's like to create life, knowing that I am the God of the universe. What can Daniel as an individual create with no limitations? How amazing is it to think about that possibility? That's what excites me. Now, I'm not there yet. And Ryan will be the first to tell me, you're saying that you're not there yet. It's holding you back. I need to be honest with where I am and what I'm at. Now, I understand the whole idea of manifestation and what you focus on and the energy you play in, but I'm not saying that I'm not there yet in judgment most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just recognizing, hey, this is my journey. This is where I'm at. I love this conversation with you. I love having these conversations. So I'm doing the best that I can with what I have. Now, am I going to get to a point where I can start to astral travel and connect with the love of who I am and allow that to shine so brightly that you have no other option but to expand in my presence? Yes, I will get there. Not there yet, but I'm getting there.
Maybe this is really groundwork.
I'm really close, and that's really exciting for me. But I'm not there yet. I'll be the first to say it. And now Kitty is going to say to me, don't say but, say and, because it's inclusive. Yeah, I know the whole language thing too. And yeah, but I am not there yet. This is where I am, and I need to honor where I am. And I need to be grateful for where I am, because as Spirit tells me time and time again, where I am is exactly where I need to be. And it's perfect. It is perfect. That language has taken me a long time to start to understand. I'm only beginning to understand what that means. I can tell you that you're perfectly where you need to be. But for me to say that about myself, that one's a little bit more difficult. For me to say that about my mother, that she's exactly where she needs to be and that she's perfect how she is, that one's a little more difficult, right? And, honoring who I am and respecting who I am, this is about that whole self-love thing, showing gratitude for the things that you've learned and the things that you've accomplished. The more gratitude you're able to recognize about the majesty of who you are, the easier it'll be for you to step into the other aspect of the majesty of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Again, sometimes easier said than done. And so it's a journey. But isn't that journey amazing? Now, this is really impactful for me. Ready?
Yes.
When you manifest the big thing that you're manifesting and you get to that point and you walk in through the door of that huge manifestation, what do you think about? The manifestation itself is secondary. What you think about is all of the little mini steps that happened that got you there. And I went, holy mother and shit, that is so true. And I went, oh my effing God. It has nothing to do with the outcome and everything to do with the journey. As soon as I realized that when I walk through the door of my mansion, whatever that manifestation is that I'm creating, I'm going to give a shit less about the mansion itself. And I'm going to look back and say, oh my God, that conversation I had with Arturo? That was so impactful for me because it allowed me to recognize the truth of who I am even more. And had I not had that conversation, I wouldn't have been able to step into whatever it is that I'm going to step into a week from now or a month from now. And I'm going to say, you know, that conversation I had with Shannon, that was so, I mean, think about our own big things. How often do we look back and say, look at all the little synchronistic things that had to happen for this thing to happen? We do it all the time. And so where would you rather be? Thinking about where you're going to be, or would you rather be conscious and aware and looking for all of these synchronistic moments as they happen? I choose that one.
Yeah, I choose that one.
Right? And so step into the beauty of your journey. Step into the challenge of your journey. This is not difficult and horrible and, you know, daunting trauma of life. This is, oh, this is a challenge that's in front of me. How amazing. I can explore this and expand into a different way of approaching this than no one else has ever done before. How cool is that? No one else has the challenges that you are facing, and no one else will experience the outcome of that in the way that you would do it. Not too long ago, somebody in my group said, well, if I die and I transition, someone else will be put into my place to continue the work that I was here to do. And I said, yes, to some degree, yes. But nobody would do it the way you would. Nobody would do it the way you do it. So you're not indispensable. It's not like, you know, you're just another soul that's here on the earth. And, you know, well, if you don't do it, don't worry, we'll just bring in Stephen to come down and do your job for you. No, Stephen will be brought in to do his or her work that might support what you were here to do, but they would never do it the way you would, because they don't have your personality. They don't have your unique characteristics of your soul and your beautiful human that are symbiotically creating what you experience as Arturo. The way that you interact with life, the way you interpret life, the way you maneuver through life is unlike anybody else ever will or ever has. Very cool, very powerful. Own that.
Something I want to say to you is, as an empath, you're able to mirror someone's behavior back to them, but good or bad behavior, and to show them. So what I'm getting from you is, I'm getting that good from you. What you're describing to me about my power, that's yours. That's the gift you are giving. And I don't think you realize that. And I'm picking that up. I'm just like, oh my God, he is me having a conversation, uplifting somebody else, when really that should be how he sees himself. I mean, that is how you see yourself, but you're pouring it to somebody else.
Did you not hear me say that this has been a transformative experience for me?
I missed that part. I'm sorry.
The conversation that I'm having with Arturo will change my life forever.
And
So,
you're creating a space for people to come here and to feel safe and to feel that they're coming to a place of understanding and no judgment. And that, once you're in that environment, it just allows you to breathe and to take off your mask and to not hide anymore. You create that space, and that's a beautiful thing.
I appreciate that.
Daniel, that is a gift.
And I would disagree with you. Ready? We create that space. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
We create that space, and you're allowing me to create that space with you. Not everybody is as open to this conversation as you have been. So I need to actually leave you guys. Love you and leave you, because I need to go feed my mom. But, you know, Arturo, I cannot emphasize this enough. You are majestic. Much more so than you realize. And I am realizing that these conversations are an expression of what I have to offer. And this is only This is only the edge of what I'm capable of. But I am beginning to recognize this. So thank you for reflecting that back to me. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done, you've given me.
My honor and my pleasure, my friend.
This
It's
is
part of why you did that tune-up on the intellect there, Daniel.
I'm sorry, what?
I said it's part of why you did the extra tune-up on the
Oh, yeah.
intellect, because you're bridging the communication. So yeah, I'm a conduit for the communication, but you're bridging the translations into multiple terminologies for varying levels of intellect to be able to then accept what is being received on many, many levels, and holding space for a collective to operate and having to do that.
I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Is you have to think of it, you're a little bit more like the generator that is holding and maintaining for the fluctuations to hold space for the messages to come as they need to be received. So that alone is its own process of being the conduit. Because yeah, I can say things one way, and my people, they talk all kinds of different ways. There's never knowing how that's going to come out. But again, everybody receives it differently, and those that struggle to be able to understand, you present it in ways that breaks it down for their intellect to accept the knowledge and then work and play with it. So you're a translator for the humans to understand us that are translating for the spirit.
I can accept
And that's
that.
a big damn job, dude.
I can accept that.
Go feed mom. I'm gonna go
All right.
watch a movie. Love
So-
you guys. See you
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Love you too. Thanks for that. Thanks for everything you shared, Shannon. And so, Arturo, enjoy the journey, my friend.
Thank you.
Compassion, gratitude, appreciation, grace, innocence. Our humans are innocently getting caught up. We're designed for it. Everyone else is innocently living a misunderstanding and thinking that it's real and reacting to that misunderstanding. And then freaking out, and then you feel the freak out. It's innocent. It's innocent. They're just living a misunderstanding. They think the world is happening to them because our humans designed for that.
I like the way you put that. It's in a different perspective. Yes.
It's an innocent misunderstanding of life. If you're at all interested in this understanding, it comes from an understanding referred to as the three principles as first described by Sydney Banks. The three principles of life: the intelligence of life, the energy of consciousness, and the energy of thought collaborate together to create our experience of life moment by moment. And how this whole understanding then relates to our day-to-day experience and our understanding of life and our role within our free will is what I refer to as the three principles conversation, which is beyond what, not beyond. It is a attempt to try and describe what Sydney Banks was pointing us towards. And my course that I'm going to be offering in September, which I created for this event, is an introduction to that, which is a reflection of the online course that I have available for free, which is written. It's a written course. It's 27, 29, 28 pages, something like that. And it's free. It's on my website. And the course is taking the lessons from that written course and talking about them and exploring them. And then I'm going to have a follow-up course in January where I'm going to go into a lot more detail, exploring what it means to be human and what it means to be spirit. And we'll be exploring a lot of this conversation around who we are as spirit, who we are as human, and the relationship between both, and understanding what it means to be human from a third dimensional perspective, and what it means to be stepping into a different understanding of what it means to be human, which relates to who we are spirit. And that's going to be a more in-depth, longer course in January. But Sydney Banks, if you just do a search for Sydney Banks in YouTube, there's a new YouTube page that's been created for him with all of his videos that are available for free.
Okay.
So anything I can do to help you out, reach out. Like I say, my membership, where we talk about these things every week and open conversation, people show up and say, hey, I'm wondering this. And this is the conversation that we have every week. And what you share is helpful for the group. And, you know, Cheryl had a question earlier, and at one point she said, oh, you answered my question. You know, this is how we work in the group. And it's a small group, so it's still fairly intimate. So,
I find myself saying, I don't know how I found you, or like, you just showed up and I accepted this invitation and had no idea what any of this was.
That's cool.
And it has truly been magical. I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps.
Awesome.
It's truly been just joyful, magical experience.
Really awesome to have you. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you be part of our journey, and for allow us the honor of being part of yours.
I'm so grateful.
So hopefully you'll join us tomorrow, and if you can't, that's okay. The recordings will be there. But hopefully
I'll
I'll
be
see
back
you
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
I'll be there tomorrow. Go feed your mother.
Will do. All right. So
Enjoy your
everybody
night.
that stayed and listened to this extra after party,
Thank you.
hopefully thank you. Really appreciate it. You're very welcome. So hopefully this conversation has been helpful for you guys as well, in whatever way it resonates with you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So I will leave you being human. Sorry, how is it? Being spirit, being human, simply being from love. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for being part of this incredible experience. We hope that this session has inspired a new level of understanding within you, allowing you to expand more easily into the essence of your true self and become an even more powerful alchemist in your own life. We invite you to listen to the session again and again in order to go deeper each time and expand even more. Have it be via the replays or the unlimited access package. If you have enjoyed being part of this event, we invite you to tell your friends so that they can join us in the future. We are grateful that you are here, and we thank you for co-creating this experience with us. Until next time, we leave you with being spirit, being human, and simply being from love.